estimate, but I also don't worry about things that I don't know about, because you don't know about it. And so I prepare to do what I know how to do best. And for 20 plus years, going for decades, that rule of code never betrayed me. As they say, sometimes it's too old to teach you old dog new tricks. Certain things I do agree, and certain things I submit to being older. That's one of them. That's actually one of them. I don't get caught up into what another guy might and can do. I train, I study, I know me. There's no fighter in the world that I would not put my record up to beat of any given day in this era, in any class. And that's how I feel. And that's not being cocky, that's being confident. And to be confident, you have to have a track record and get that work and be taken seriously. You can talk about it. To be about it is a whole different concept. They go in the crowd, and they had to go. No, seriously, they had to go back and take a deep breath. They had to realize, wait a minute, I'm making this thing out to be too serious. It's keeping me up at night. You know what I mean? And went through 15 cups of coffee, trying to stay up there all the time, busting my head. Let me just step back for a minute and then get back to it, and you'll be fresh as a daisy. That's the spiritual side, and that's the side that young folks and young fighters and young people don't get right away. And some will never get it. Because that's part of life and part of the game. I'm glad I got both of them. So I know the difference between, even with success, between this and between that. I'm having it. They got a halftime in football, they got a halftime in basketball, and they got a halftime in certain sports when you got 4 quarters or 2 quarters. And you at the second half with respect and dignity, just like the first half. And I ain't gambling with you 50 years after January 15th of 2015. You didn't tell me that's not celebrating two victories of the turn of another chapter, another age bracket, another halftime of life. Why do you think that most people, when they turn 50, they celebrate, right? Why is 50 so significant to celebrate? You celebrate 50 like you celebrate 20, like you celebrate 50, like you celebrate 30. But why 50? Because 50 is the halftime. See, because nobody expects to live another 50 years, right? So, you look at the numbers don't lie, they never do. They get churned back sometimes. They like say this and they get churned before, right? But they never change. Still go forward. So when you look at me, look at that time. Look at that time saying, you know what? When you do the things that the alien or the execution or whatever you know about, be high. When you look at the lifestyle, you look at the discipline in that man, you would say reserved. You would say well kept. You would say yes, 1965, clean in the garage. But the engine and the mechanics are brand new. Because he took care of it. You got that bolts oil. You got the car cleaned out, the pistons clean, sparks plugs are new. You're looking at the car in a year, but you ain't pop the engine to understand that when you look at the car and you open the inside, you start seeing the mechanics in there, you look and say, my God, that 2014 that been ran down to the ground, they haven't had a tune-up or oil change in 9 months, they haven't had the brakes changed, the wheels rotated. What car is over? The 65 or the 2014? Why y'all humans don't think that way? Why y'all humans don't think that? But the alien do. See, because old to y'all is a number, but it's not the person. And that's your biggest mistake. Well, you rotate them. You rotate the tires by taking them off, and you rotate them to the next tire. Or you change them.
Can you either get down or right? You just move right my shot.
Because on November 9th, which is Sunday, we don't want no one saying differently what they said prior to November 8th. See, you can't have both sides, even though you might want both sides. This man is a threat to anybody. This won't be an easy fight. It might look easy to you. But there's a lot of other things in my life and my career, and I always believe I'm fighting politics. It's just my belief. And I understand that not only I gotta beat the man, I gotta beat a lot of people. That's the way I operate. And when I go to bed, I know a lot of people go to bed upset. And so, they're either gonna watch me win, or they're gonna watch me lose. And that game, I don't know why I'm playing. Because I understand me, and I know me. I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in this is your time, this ain't your time. I believe in whoever brings, they really believe the best of themselves. And understand that they're going to sacrifice whatever they have to do to be victorious or win. That's plain and simple. That's plain and simple. And that's how I feel. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I stopped letting people for many, many years of my life. And this is what wisdom becomes now of age. It doesn't really bother me one way or the other whether somebody votes for me or don't. Like, I'm not controlled by people's opinion about me. When my kids see me, and when my kids can read and write and go to private school, it's $20,000 a head a year, kindergarten, first grade, not a high school. When my family, who I know at the end of the day, when I step through that door, and when time comes, and they look at me with respect of what I've made path for them to be. That's the only thing that matters. Because if you are dictated or motivated in that part, if I'm motivated by what people might do or say or think, but certain things you just can't be motivated by that action. Because it would never stop. Because no matter who you be, no matter how many people you upset, you're always going to have something else. And so, when you're dealing with that scenario, and you're dealing with that type of gen, you're wasting your time. But I ain't always think that way. So I must tell you, I've grown too. I ain't always think that way. Because no matter what, there's always going to find some Looney Tune. It's going to tell you that wall is not the color that wall is. Because that's how it is. You don't agree, I don't agree, but that's how it is. So you do what you do. And the people that cares and the people that you care about, you leave that legacy. And when it's all said and done, then you let time and what's going on in that time duplicate or beat that record. Because for me to be able to say to everybody in the world that no one expected me not only to become what I became, but they thought I'd be going 10, 15 years ago. So I became their worst nightmare. And the more threat is that I still got my scruples, and I still got my senses, and I still got my intellect, and I still have my swag, as you would say, to be able to articulate, communicate, and then I become a bigger force. See, when you do this, and then out of this, and now you're involved in other entities that normally is not the makeup of where we come from, you sort of raise eyebrows and ears. Some would embrace it with love, and some would embrace it with fear. It reminds me of the story I was watching the other day where one slave knew how to read and the other ones didn't. Why did it irritate the masters? Why did they was threatened? Because Fufu could read and Bobo couldn't. So they had to cut him out, and Stallone was a cancer. Because if he tell he their value, you can't devalue them. So when you know your value, whether you're a housewife or a husband, fighter, worker, we know your value, that's what's called negotiations. You can go to the table with confidence and strength. You might not get it in spite of, but at least you know your value. But if I gotta tell you your value, I guarantee you it won't be what you think it is. These are the things they teach at universities. I learned it on the University of Streets, North Philadelphia, right outside that door. And guess what? They don't give you a ribbon and a PhD and a hat. They don't throw their hat up in the air. Bullets, but not hats. It's a whole different era. And the crazy thing is I tapped into the other world, so now I got both of them. Out there, right? In corporate America. That makes me double trouble. And then I can fight third. That makes me triple trouble. Let me get my work on so everyone watch me sweat. At 2.5 more months from 50, y'all can understand why some of y'all might need to change your damn diet before I come get you.